I will ask for the last time. Will you make a choice?
Hey, what's going on, Peekers? It's yours truly, James, back again as promised with another quick peek. And our main man, Mike. What's going on, Mike?
Different day, same old crap, right?
Is it though? Is it though? You sure we're not recording all these back to back to back and we're pumping them out little by little? Who
That's right.
knows? So today, ladies and gentlemen, we will be talking about Knock at the Cabin Door, M. Night Shyamalan's movie. M. Night Shyamalan. Yeah, I pronounced it correctly. I hope I didn't pull a Chris there. That came out a couple weeks ago. Some of you may have already seen my instant reaction on Instagram and TikTok when I saw the movie straight out of the theaters. But this time, Mike has had an opportunity to see it as well, and we're going to go a little bit deeper into it. Obviously, spoiler filled, be forewarned, and we'll keep it to a short format. We're going to go into the movie synopsis, some key characters and key actors, casting, and then we're just going to go straight into the plot. And I'm going to dissect this movie like we would one of our comic book superhero movies or Star Wars or Star Trek or any of the big tentpole movies. Although this was kind of billed, actually, no, it wasn't an indie, it wasn't a tentpole. It's like an in between. And that says a lot, by the way. So, that being said, let's get into it, Mike. Knock at the Cabin Door.
Oh, just knock at the cabin. There's
No,
no door.
Yeah, knock at
Knock
the
at the
cabin. I
cabin, yeah.
know. I said knock at the cabin door. Yeah, thanks.
So this one, directed by, a lot of people's favorite M. Night Shyamalan, who
hmm
made that fantastic rendition of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
hmm
Horrible, horrible film.
Yeah,
Did you
fantastic.
watch that movie? The Last Airbender movie?
I did
Okay.
not.
And you
I
never
will
watched
not.
the animated one, right?
I think I might have seen snippets of it, but I never watched its entirety. No.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I'm pretty sure I did see parts of it, but not the entire
Yeah,
movie.
don't
Yeah.
bother watching the live action one. So, but I mean,
Mm,
people know him from Sixth Sense, Signs, Unbreakable. He's got a whole catalog of movies, right? Uh,
hmm
some of them are really good, some of them are really bad, like The Happening with Mark
hmm
Wahlberg. So,
hmm
people have been they don't know what to expect anymore, right? Like, I think, what was the one he did before this one? Let me take a look here.
He did the Glass trilogy movie.
Yeah, well, the one he did before this was old. Remember that one where they were on the island?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, he
that
did. That
wasn't.
was
I thought
after
that
the
was okay.
trilogy.
It
Yeah.
wasn't too bad, But
Let's be honest. That movie came out when we were peak pandemic and we were starving for any
that
content.
is
And I
true.
remember this
That is
came out
true.
straight to streaming. No one went to movie theaters to see it, so no one had like that nasty feeling after you paid $60 on tickets and popcorn, and you're like, "What the hell did I just watch?" You watched it at
Yeah,
home, legal or illegally, and then you're like, not that bad." So,
yeah. So I mean, and then Glass was, for the most part, I enjoyed Glass and Split. I really like Split, and I'm a fan of
same. Split and
Unbreakable.
Unbreakable,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
hmm
but Glass kind of let me down at the end. So that ended the whole.
Yeah, Glass was like the Spider-Man 3
Yeah,
of the Sam Raimi,
I
similar
know. There was a whole
failures
build
and
up, and then
disappointment.
I was just kind of let down. So, but anyway, so that's M Night, and this one stars Dave Bautista, so we know as Drax as from Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's been branching out into a bunch of other things. Um,
hmm
yeah, and there's so a couple other actors in this. Not really anyone name worthy, not that I could think of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at IMDb and they're selling me Jonathan Groff, who was one of the dads, and Ben
Hmm.
Aldridge, who was the other dad. Some of the other characters in this movie, you've seen them as secondary supporting actors in a lot of other
Right.
TV shows, not
Yes.
necessarily movies. I'm thinking of the African American
Hmm.
actress, and then the other gentleman that was with Dave Bautista. The other girl in that group, I think this was her debut as an actress. So for the most part, it seems like Dave Bautista is the only I mean, I'm calling him an A-list, but
Well,
you
I
get
will
my
give a
point.
shout out
Recognizable name.
to Rupert Grint, who was in the Harry Potter movies, the redhead guy. He was the
Oh,
what's
okay.
his face? You know what I'm talking about. He was with Harry and Hermione.
Yeah.
Ron Weasley.
Yes.
Ron Weasley, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
That is
so
correct.
he
You're
was
right.
probably the
You're right.
next biggest name currently. Like if this was filmed like maybe 10 years ago, his name would have been bigger on the marquee than Bautista, right?
Yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong. This is his only movie outside of the Harry Potter franchise he's done.
Well, he's currently in that Servant TV show with that's also done by M Night Shyamalan.
Oh,
So that's
all right. Thanks for
yeah.
correcting me.
So, but yeah,
Okay.
so that's our cast, right? And that's our director. And
Hmm.
the movie takes place basically a cabin in the woods, right? And
Hmm.
we open on a little girl. I did like the girl's performance, by the way. I thought she did a good job as a little child
We
actor.
forgot to mention
You know,
her,
a lot of
the
times we,
actress here. And you know
huh?
me.
Yeah,
You guys know me on this
yeah,
podcast. I hate a lot of
yeah,
child
I'm with you
actors and
there. Most of the
actresses,
time,
and
they just annoy me with their performances, but I thought she did a good job. We opened with her collecting grasshoppers, and all of a sudden, you know, slow walking through the woods is Bautista, and he's talking about, I need to get into your house, and scaring the little girl. And we
by the way, that scene between the two of them was well acted, well
love that
written,
scene. Love that opening
executed
scene. I was like,
everything.
yes,
Yeah.
if this is
Yes.
what we're getting for the whole movie, I'm in. So,
Even the camera angle
yes,
when they show you the difference between this small little girl and this hulking of a figure of a
right.
man with the quiet voice. I mean, that to me, like you said, I was like, wow, this is about to be M. Night Shyamalan classic.
Yes.
Okay.
So, a couple more people show up who we talked about earlier, Rupert Grint and uh, two other women, and they have to get in the house. And inside the house, we have the parents of the little girl. That it's a gay couple that have rented this cabin for, I
Hmm.
guess, for the weekend or the week to get away on vacation. And come to find out,
Gay male couple.
yeah.
Hmm.
So the girl lets them know, hey, somebody's trying to get in, and then here comes the knock at the cabin, right? And it's Bautista saying, you know, we need you to let us in, and you need to listen to us very carefully. Um, as they manage to break their way inside, they explain that one of the gay couple has to die, has to make a sacrifice. They can't kill themselves. They have to. The others have to kill them.
I thought it was either one of the three. I didn't think it was
Right.
just
It
one of
was
the
one
gay
of the
couple. I thought it
three.
was
One of the
either.
three of them have to die,
Okay.
but
Hmm.
they cannot kill themselves. The other two have to kill them. And
Correct.
if they don't do it, the apocalypse happens on Earth. So, of course, the family doesn't believe them. Weird things start happening into the outside world as they put on the news. Planes start crashing.
So let's
Hmm.
pause there because we talked about
Yeah.
casting. One thing I did like, I felt like, so they're getting their information from a TV screen, so per cable wherever they had. I don't know, it's Verizon, Fios, whatever. It doesn't seem like it was satellite, but they're getting their news, and that to me was another character in this. In my
Yes.
opinion, was like another character as part of this movie was the television and the news feed that they're getting. That's strictly they weren't playing sports. It wasn't any sort of TV show. It was just a news feed, like a direct CNN headline news type of feed. And to me, that felt like it was another character as part of
Yes. And you know
this
what?
show.
See, that's
Okay.
one thing M. Night's good at. He's good at those intangible characters on the screen. He does that a lot,
I
and he's
agree.
really good at it.
I
And
agree.
this is in comparison to I think what were we talking about previously? Um, was it was
Sci-fi?
sorry?
Was it a sci-fi
No,
show
no,
or
the movie we were reviewing earlier. I can't even remember right now. That's how tired I am.
Ant-Man?
Yeah, with Ant Man, like how I was saying that the ants are also a character in the movie, right? Kind of like that. Yeah.
Oh, yes,
So
yes,
like
yes, yes,
not
yes,
an
yes.
actor, not an actor per se, but a background character that's like
Yes,
intangible, right? Yeah. So
correct.
like kind of like
Yes,
that.
you mentioned
But
that a couple hours
but
ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's good at those. Either using like TV broadcasts or radio or like he did in Signs. Remember they used to the news reports on Signs and the radio and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think this was better. This was better. This was better executed than
I think
Signs,
so.
in
I
my
think so.
opinion.
Although there were some great scenes in Signs with Joaquin Phoenix in particular, but I won't get too far into that, right?
Yeah,
So maybe one day we'll do
yeah.
our M Night, yeah,
Rewatchable.
rewatchables
Shout
and
out to that nigga. But
comparisons,
yeah,
and we'll
rewatchable.
deep dive into directing his directing type, right? So
Okay.
so
So back to the plot of
yeah,
this
so
movie,
as we
right?
see, there's weird things happening. The family's still not really convinced. It could be coincidence. It could be pre-recorded. You set this whole thing up.
Mm,
You know,
I thought that was interesting.
but
Yeah.
here's the funny thing. So as they don't believe and they still don't want to sacrifice, each one of the members that have invaded the cabin have to die now. So they start killing each other off because they don't
Yes,
want to sacrifice.
killing themselves
Yeah.
off. Correct.
Eventually, we get to the
Yeah,
point where the one husband realizes, yeah, you have to kill me because the apocalypse is happening, and he winds up getting
yeah,
killed. And
and I think some environmental things are starting to happen. If I'm
yeah, there
correct,
were
I think
earthquakes,
when Dave
tsunamis.
Bautista was the last, there's four of them.
Yeah,
So obviously Dave Bautista is the last of the four. Then you start seeing things in the
right.
sky to kind of reaffirm what they're seeing on television.
The best part, I think, the most convincing was when he put on the news station and Bautista stood in front of it and started reciting word for word what the lady was going to say ahead of time, and I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. That's
So here's the thing that starts to kill me because they are saying they're reciting what's happening because they've all had the common thread of these
hmm
four was that they came in not knowing each other until they started having visions and they found each other from the
right.
visions and then they came on the mission to confront this family and enact what they think would be able to save the world because of these visions they're having.
Right.
So to me, I thought M. Night Shyamalan did the old trick, like, okay, this is not a cult. They're not just reading some sort of a satanic Bible. No, it's like some visions were implanted. They didn't know each other before they came into this, and because of the visions, they coalesced, and then they decided this is what was going to save the universe. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Again, concept wise, I
Yeah.
like it. But go ahead.
And then, so like I said, we get to the point where the family finally believes, and they make the sacrifice, and they avert the apocalypse after a bunch of destruction happens. So, um, our four horsemen, as they come to realize that these are the horsemen of the apocalypse, are all dead, and the husband who gets sacrificed, if I remember right, he has a vision of the future where he sees his husband and the grown daughter now living their life because they averted the apocalypse. So
Correct. And I think he started seeing that vision as early on. There was a light. By the way, we
yeah.
our segment was really focusing on casting and plot. But if we stay for a couple seconds on the set design and cinematography,
hmm
I like the fact that you felt like you were part of the cabin because the way he shot the cabin, like
Yeah.
it wasn't like it obviously it was on scene. It was on set. It was a practical set, but the way some of the windows and the shimmer of the light that at first you were not taking seriously until the actor was kind of focused on it, and you started to because you're thinking Easter egg. It's gonna be Easter egg, and then later on it's revealed that his vision was starting from the moments that he was seeing the light shimmer through the
Right.
window, and the way he had that weird look. It happened a couple times up until the end. So he was getting those visions, early on that his husband wasn't getting.
Yeah.
Which again,
Exactly. Right.
if you choose to watch it a second time, you're like, oh, okay, I see that Easter egg. He, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that I mean
So he versed, yeah.
that's pretty much the whole plot of the film. So now we get to let's talk plot. What did you think of the plot? You know.
On paper, and you're gonna hear this a lot from
hmm
me. The vision and plan versus the execution, right?
Yeah.
On paper, I think it's a pretty. And by the way, this is based on a book. For those who don't
That's right.
know,
It is.
half-assed internet research by me. This is based on a book that came out not too long ago. The Cabin at the End of the World, written by Paul Tremblay, I believe. So that being said, this is an adaptation from the book into the movie form. I like the concept of the fact that there's faith in things that you can't prove to someone
Hmm.
else unless certain steps are taken, right? Because I'm always a sucker for like someone is has so much faith into something that's not scientifically proven until it's almost too late and you start seeing the proof, right?
Like remember the
There's a
original
lot.
Exorcist movie, you know, stuff
Yes,
like that, right?
yes. The priest
Yeah.
refused to believe, even in the beginning when her body was being morphed into different things, and it wasn't until she
Yeah.
started floating
Even
he couldn't see any stringer, and then he
I
finally
mean,
believed.
even movies like Jaws, where you have the mayor going, "Nah, we'll just keep the beach open." You know what I mean? He, they're
Oh,
warning him of the shark.
that's
You know, kind of like a certain president where he's being warned about COVID, and he goes, "Nah, it's fine. It'll
it's
clear
fine.
up when it gets
It's only in Europe. It's not gonna get here.
it'll clear up when it gets warm."
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
moving on.
so on paper and concept, I like the idea, but I felt like oh, I'm gonna be very honest. I felt like the way that this might have been in my mind better as a Netflix series
No, I don't
and
agree.
like
I'm going
more
to stop you right
exposition
there.
and
I think a
more.
Netflix movie, not a series. I think this could have gone straight to Netflix. I don't think I would have could have sat through
Do
hours
you
of
know
this.
why I think it would have been a Netflix series? Because there's so much more you can do with each individual character, starting with we call them the Four
Okay,
Horsemen. You came up with that. I
yeah.
like that. Four Horsemen. And how is their past? Because they touched on a few of them. Like, what were they doing before they got these visions? And how do these visions put them on the path that they wound up being at the end when they took their life?
Hmm.
How is this couple? And then they focus a little bit on the couple, the adoption, and how they were different because one was already out and the other one was in the closet, and then
Yeah.
getting attacked by the bar. I feel like there's so much more meat you could have put into this concept if you lengthen it and put the right beats and right storylines, and you get a more satisfactory feeling from the
Yeah.
finale. Because at the end, you're just like, oh, that's it, big hoo ha, because this is all I had to do. It took them forever to do it because the fact that because it was a movie format and it was short and they had to focus on certain things more than the others. I think the execution screwed the
So you
concept.
think they should have
I
stretched
think
out more of the
the concept,
backstories and things like that, right? So
yes,
so we could have
more
had
about these
so kind
visions.
of like what they did with you saw Neil Gaiman's Sandman, right? Series the on Netflix.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
kind of like how
Yes,
they did an episode with his sister, they did an episode with just the bad guy's backstory. So kind of like that, we could have had one
yes,
episode of each of the
yes,
horsemen, and then one episode with the
yeah.
couple.
The whole thing could have been a 6 to 8
Yeah.
episode where,
Okay.
because then the payoff would be much better at the end if it's written right, where you feel like, okay, all these sacrifices, and you finally get to that moment where he takes the life of his husband, and then they get in that truck and they drive off, and then you've got like these 6 hours prior to that to go on the journey with them, as opposed to the movie. I think the movie was maybe an hour and a
Yeah.
half. It
If
wasn't
that,
even
I looked.
an
Yeah, I
hour
was
40
surprised. It was like
minutes
yeah, it
because that
was
was
like 100 minutes
ultimately my problem
altogether.
with this movie. Yeah, like the execution of the concept to me just felt like, dude, like no, this is like it's abrupt. Like we know we're getting
Yeah.
there, but we get there too fast, like premature, mm-mm. And we get there like, oh man, so much for that. We just blew our load with Batista's that final speech, which was great by Batista, and I know we Texas, and I don't know here speak chat, but he's phenomenal now as like the I think in my mind he's the best wrestler turned actor, because he killed his near death scene at the end was probably the best moment in the entire
Hmm.
movie. That speech, and then after that everything just probably just went off a cliff. Like I no longer cared. Like I'm
That,
like just get to the
that
credits.
that was
Let's see
my
if there's
problem
another
too.
big Easter egg coming,
Yeah.
and there was nothing. It's just roll
Right.
credits.
That was my problem too. Kind of. It was like from the start to the end, towards to the end of the movie. I was kind of like, okay, well, the apocalypse is coming, and somebody's gonna have to die. The end, right? So it was kind of like,
Yeah,
unless there was, the only thing I was thinking was, is there gonna be some huge twist like he had in the Sixth Sense, right? But I know,
Yes.
and I know everyone is expecting Shyamalan to do a twist ending. I don't really care if he does or not anymore. Like it was cool in Sixth Sense, it was cool in Unbreakable. Like at the end when we see that Sam Jackson is the bad guy after all, right? But I don't need a twist ending from him. But this plot kind of, this story, like it wasn't surprising to me. You know what I mean? Like I knew what was going to happen,
Yeah,
basically.
I'm standing on this, I'm fighting on this hill
Mm,
that had you had a series, you could have possibly show me the daughter and where she fit into all this as far as because we get from everyone's view of like a
yeah,
flashback. We never get a point of view of her flashback prior to being there at the campsite. So perhaps maybe she had a dream that this was coming. Maybe there's a fifth person that's involved in these visions, and she doesn't realize that her dreams are part of that vision.
yeah. So
You know, that's an episode all on her
that
own,
was one
right?
thing that
And
kind
then
of
you can
bugged
show
me.
her in the
Right?
future, post credits, you can show her as an adult in the
Yeah,
future and how the world changed because of the sacrifice
yeah. See, that was
of
that
her
was one
father's
thing that
murder.
kind of bugged me was the why were all these people chosen? We never got into that. So, like,
Dude.
why were these four horsemen chosen? We never saw any of that. Which I'm starting to see your point, where a series could have.
And how when they actually
Yeah,
meet up, they're convincing each other like,
exactly.
yeah, we're not going crazy.
Right.
You know, we're.
And then not just that, why was this couple this with their daughter chosen? Why did they have to go to this cabin? All these kind of, like, I know overall it's not important for the story, but it's just questions that linger while you're watching the
It's not
movie, right?
important for the story, but it's important for the payoff.
Yeah,
Again,
right,
execution,
right.
right? Like if the payoff is worth it at the end, then you can like, all right, I get the story, I like what they did, I like the acting,
Mhm.
everything kind of falls into place, right? If at the end of the movie we like, wow, okay, I like the direction that they did, so I'm not gonna nitpick that I didn't like this actor because he was like too abrasive or whatever. No, it kind of it blends everything. But without that payoff, now I got to go back and look at, okay, I like the concept, but why do I not feel like this movie really resonated with me? Like, what was
Yeah,
wrong
it
with it?
didn't.
So now I'm
It
like
did,
under a microscope looking at,
right. It didn't feel
everything
like
that.
I didn't feel satisfied at the end. You know what I mean? I think
Mhm.
like it felt like stuff was missing from the movie. So
See, I'm not trying to convince you.
no,
I know
no, I know,
you
no,
had
but that's how
your
I felt
thoughts on
after
it.
watching it too. I was like, there's stuff missing, but at first I wasn't gonna be like, this should be 10 hours, right? So
No, no, no. You're right. You're
yeah,
right. That's just my own. I came up with the
mm,
thought as we were preparing for this pod. I'm like, because I already had in my mind my grade, and so I'm like, why is my grade like this?
yeah,
Like, what could have made it a higher grade? And then boop, that popped in my head. What if they have done this and done that in a third? And I'm like, all right, let me get Mike's point on that.
yeah,
So yeah, that's where I think the plot, overall, we talked about the casting, the
yeah. I'm
direction,
I'm with you with
the
Bautista's
acting.
acting there. I thought he did a great job. I'm glad he's I'm glad he's transitioning out of Marvel into other things quickly
Yeah.
and good.
He's doing Dune. Like I watched Dune the other night just by happenstance, and I was like, oh man, I forgot he was in this
He
movie
was
too.
good in Dune as well. He was good as the thug, the enforcer guy, right? So I liked him in that.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
hoping that
happy
we'll see him
for
in the part
Batista.
two. I don't know what else he's got upcoming, but I want to see him. It seems like he wants to get out of. Obviously, he's getting older. It's not easy to keep that bulk, for action roles all the time.
I know. Although he has gone on record said he wished to reunite with James Gunn in DC.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you
we'll
know,
see.
paycheck's a
I mean,
paycheck.
but
Paycheck's a
Schwarzenegger
paycheck.
did the right thing too. He kept his shirt on after a while. You know what I mean? Pretty much
Hmm.
from the time T2 hit, he wasn't taking his shirt off in movies anymore. You know what I mean? After that, it was, I'm gonna do some comedies. He did Twins. He did,
There you
things
go.
like that.
Comedy,
Yeah,
family friendly movies, Kindergarten Cop.
right.
Yeah,
And more and other dramatic roles where he wasn't this.
yeah. But all honestly, I think Dave Bautista is a better actor
Oh, for sure.
than
I'm not arguing
pure
that
actor
point.
than Schwarzenegger.
Absolutely, he's a better actor than Schwarzenegger. But that's what I'm talking about. That
Yeah,
transition from action hero to mainstream actor, right? And I hope
yes.
Bautista can get there. So because he does have he's
So
got the talent.
before we close out, let's speak on M. Night Shyamalan. I don't want to get into his directing of this movie. I think we kind of talked about it. But where does he go from here? Because, Hollywood right now is tapping all of these different young up and coming directors who some of them are just straight from TV shows. They're getting like the nod to helm big blockbuster movies. And then the old guard like the Spielbergs and Paul Thomas Anderson and Christopher Nolan, they're like more choosy now. They're doing these independent, cinema projects. And then you got a lot of European, South Korean directors that are on their own path.
Yeah.
So in my mind, M. Night Shyamalan and directors of his ilk are a little bit different, right? They're not as the old guard like the Spielbergs or Coppola, whatever.
Hmm.
They're not the young up and coming directors like the Russo brothers or
No,
whatnot.
he's like our
They're
Gen
like in a
X.
different.
He's like our Gen X directors, right? Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, but unlike some of the other ones, I think he's kind of stigmatized or stereotyped where he does only these type of movies.
Hmm.
Like he does these sci-fi, horror, thriller movies, and that's really his lane. But it's getting, like we say, MCU fatigue.
Yeah.
It's getting a fatigue with these movies, and I think, and I read a lot of reviews. Knock at the Cabin, it didn't get a lot of positive reviews. I forgot to check the box office numbers before we got on. So I'm thinking, what's left for him now in Hollywood after this movie? Like, I'm thinking that, he's gonna take another break. He does these a lot, right?
Yeah.
He's quiet for a while, and then boom, old or whatever. I don't think he's gonna revisit any of his old catalog. I don't think we're about to get Village 2 or
No.
whatnot. You know, I think he's gonna come out with another one of these movies that's probably based on a book, because that's the easy buck now, right? You find a book that's
Yeah.
interesting that no one really knows about, that wasn't an Amazon bestseller or Barnes whatever, and then you adapt it, and then boom, you put the M. Night Shyamalan twist. I think he's gonna go down that path, and I think that's unfortunate because he came out as a great, innovative director and
Yeah.
screenwriter, and now he's kind of forced giving us these mediocre to subpar movies. I think that's a shame. I would love to see him do something totally different, like
Yeah.
do an action
Yeah.
movie.
See, I don't like. I still love his camera work. I think he's got some. He's got a great eye for where to put the camera in perspective to the scene
Yes,
and how to transition and how to
yeah, he
move the
does.
camera. He's still brilliant at that to me. And his dialogue, I still enjoy his dialogue in individual scenes, like some of the speeches that Bautista gave. Some of the dialogue is very good. I'm thinking like my
Agreed.
issue right now overall is overall story, right? He's having some
Yeah,
issues there. So I agree with you. If he's taking on some adapting like some other books and stuff and co-writing with some people, I think he can have a really great story and a really great script, and put his his camera eye on a movie, and it would be brilliant. So
yeah, I
yeah,
agree. All right, so we're on the same page with that because
yeah,
I definitely want to see him come back. I was thinking a little bit more extreme. Like I would love for him to take a stab at a typical action movie. I don't mean like a superhero action movie. I mean like a action thrill, like a bank heist
right,
or something practical sets and nothing supernatural over the top.
yeah,
Where somebody's forced to make an impossible decision because he writes those
yes,
well
he
too,
does. Yep.
where you got to take the life of another or make an ultimate sacrifice or you know, similar something like that, but in a real world environment with some action sequences. I would love to see him take a stab at that, but who knows? That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
He's pretty much well off. He's not looking for a paycheck, so I don't see him like at MCU or DC door. Hey, I'm ready to play in the sandbox with you
Right.
guys. All right. Any last words before we get into grades?
No, I think I'm ready to go ahead and grade it.
So I already pronounced my grade. I announced my grade during the instant
I don't
reaction.
remember what it was.
I haven't changed it since. It's good. It's good. I haven't changed it. I haven't upgraded and I haven't downgraded it. But my grade from then and now is a C minus for this movie.
Okay. Yeah, I understand why you gave it that grade. I'm gonna go a little better. because I think I'm going to go a little better because of some of the performances and some of the cinematography and the camera work, the set pieces, things like that. I'm going to go ahead and give it a C plus.
Okay, not
Right.
that far off. We're in the C range, one
Yeah.
tier to another
Yep.
tier. That's good. That's good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this brief moment and hearing our thoughts on the movie Knock at the Cabin, directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Mike, let our fans and subscribers know where else can they follow us to get more insights on movies like Knock Night at the Cabin, Knock at the Cabin, and other movies out there.
Yeah. So if you're interested in James's upcoming 4 hour deep dive into Flash season 9, episode 1,
Dear Lord.
you can follow us at Heroes Peak on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that button in the corner to get notifications and leave a comment below.
Yes, please leave a comment. For those of you who actually did watch the movie and now are watching our review, please tell us where you agree or disagree with some of our thoughts and comments. I would particularly like to get some insight on if you could rank your M. Night Shyamalan movies,
Good point.
please do so in the comments. Let us know your favorite to your least favorite. I don't think this one's my least favorite. I'll probably still put either The Village
You have to
or
put the
Devil. I think
happening
it's
on the
Devil.
bottom there. Even
Happening.
even
Oh
even
shit, yeah.
even
Okay.
M Night
But the
Shyamalan has
happening.
said,
Half of the reason why I don't like that movie is because of Mark Wahlberg.
yeah, but
That's
the whole
half.
story anyway. Even M Night Shyamalan said this is just a B movie I made. He purposely calls it a B movie. So
All right, then if he came out and said that,
I
he
don't know
really said that, then yeah, that's a
which one
denial.
do you think is worse than that one?
No, I think I didn't like The Village and I didn't like the Devil movie that he
You
made.
know what? I didn't mind The Village because I thought Bryce did a great job. I thought John, what's his name, the dad who played the dad in the movie, did a great job. The twist, I wasn't surprised at the twist. I was like, I saw that coming like 100 miles
Yeah,
away.
we also had that comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I think because I foreshadowed
yeah.
it, it just took the life out of me watching the movie, and then I
I mean,
got gut
I
punched
think
when it actually was
I think
revealed that I
Lady in
was
the
right.
Water is worse than The Village. Remember that one?
Oh, I never saw that. So
Oh, you got to
yeah,
see that
maybe
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm disqualified from that one. I had no interest in seeing it with the trailers, and I never saw it. So maybe that would have been my
Yeah.
my only F from him. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, please let us know with his catalog, where do you rank his movies from favorite to least favorite? And we hope to see you soon. Come back. We've got a lot more content coming out. I know we've been on vacation. Literally some of us are on vacation, but we look forward to engaging with you, our family, and our subs. So until then,
See you soon.
have a good night.